Call to Arms is the newest Destiny 2 event, and it is our first real taste of an actual ranked competitive event. Well, that lasted all of about 2 seconds. Hello, everybody. I am here today to whine. I'm here to whine about a decision that was made to rebalance the Call to Arms playlist based on quote-unquote player feedback. Now, let me just give you a little background on the intention of the developers when making a Call to Arms. This was supposed to be the first ranked competitive event where players would compete against players for high scores, and those high scores would translate directly into exclusive cosmetics if you were able to be in the top 10% or top 1% of the player base. However, much like every other event that we have seen in recent history, Call to Arms launched with a myriad of issues. The biggest of these issues being that you could not compete for max score unless you were somewhere between 500 and 549 power. The closer you were to 549 account power, the closer you were able to get to that lucrative top 1%. At launch, there were bugs where players that were 550 were not able to get their maximum Grandmaster bonus points rewards when playing in the ultimate difficulty, and players that were progressively below 549 power were not getting as much power as somebody who, say, was 549. So players who were exactly 549 had an inherent advantage over everybody else. However, if you know how Destiny works, that advantage was not going to last long because eventually they would just get a piece of gear and finally level up to 550, thus disqualifying them from the bonus score that they were able to get. This bug was fixed very, very quickly, and players that were 550 were able to get the same rewards as players that were 500. The top bracket of score achievable was for any and all players between powers 500 and 550. And if you ask me, nowadays, after an entire 6 months of rebalancing, getting to 550 power is not an issue at all. Me personally, I was able to go from 550 to 500 in the span of 12 hours just by grinding playlists. And then yesterday, November 18th at around noon, we got a post from the Destiny 2 team. Welcome to the second week of Call to Arms. Based on your feedback, we deployed the following changes to the event. Fact check false. There was not based on any feedback, in my opinion. Score thresholds for all activities have been adjusted. Numbers adjusted for readability. And TLDR, what these numbers mean is that the scores are now officially locked. There it is. These are the thresholds that you have to meet to hit top 1% and top 10% in the respective activities. Score thresholds below 10% have been adjusted to further open up eligibility for the Shader and Transmit Awards. So if you are only physically capable of getting top 30% in all of the activities, you're still going to get the Shader and the Transmat, okay? The PvE changes are designed to protect the challenge of claiming the event's top end reward, but we also feel it's necessary to address the 550 power players have been adversely affected by lower score bugs introduced alongside our power equalization changes. I saw Clyde talking about this a lot on Twitter, but like I mentioned before, 550 power players were not getting scored equal to other players. That's why that threshold was adjusted so that players that were 500 power were getting the same score as players that were 550 power. I think that this is bad. For the first 7 days of this event, it was a leaderboard-based event that was only going to reward the players that tried the hardest, played the fastest, did the best, right? This was an event for the best of the best, and now it has been opened up to literally anybody with 2 thumbs and enough time and enough time to grind Heliostat or the salt mines until they get a top 1% score, and thus they're going to be getting the emblem, which was originally supposed to be an exclusive reward. My original prediction was that there was going to be around 600 copies of the emblem given out to players based on the way that leaderboards were going to work. However, I made a miscalculation in the sense that each one of the categories getting top 1%, even if you only got one of them, would qualify you to get the emblem. So if I were to adjust my original expectations, if I understood clear, I would have said that around 2,000 copies of the emblems were going to be given out, because just assuming a player went in and said, okay, for the next week, I'm going to grind the coil nonstop until I'm top 1% and I'm not going to play. It was just assuming that a maximum amount of players basically got top 1% in one category, but didn't go for top 1% in all the others, assuming maximum it would have topped out at around 2,000 emblems. However, now, theoretically, An infinite number of emblems or a number of emblems equal to the entire player base participating in the event can go out to the players. So any sense of exclusivity attached to the emblem or attached to the helmet ornament it's just gone. It is just gone at this point. There is no reason to fiend for these cosmetics. There's no reason to try if you were going for the cosmetics because it is just it's for babies. Destiny 2 players do nothing and get rewarded. Challenge completely possible. It happens all the time. Same thing. A Lethanim ornament came to the shop for Bright Dust. Just wait, and you will get rewarded. At this rate, we might as well just give everybody the contest emblem at this point because exclusivity means nothing anymore. Okay. The PvP change is designed to address several reports we've seen of players coming in, with just a few important shorts of completing every high-scoring game. So we want to open this pool up slightly to encompass these players to prevent further impact of the power changes. The call to arms score thresholds have now been locked. That was just what I was talking about. It is locked as if you have thumbs, you can get Proving Grounds to 2.9 mil. If you are 500 power, you can get any of these, right? Salt Mines, you have to wait for an HVT to spawn, but still, if you can get the HVT to spawn in Salt Mines and you are 550 power, you're going to get top 1% guaranteed. The only thing you will not be able to consistently get top 1% for is the Crucible, because Crucible, you have to rely on a team, and most players are just genuine chuds who have no idea how to play the game. No matter how well you do, you have to capture zones, and you have to hope that the other team is also full of chuds. Anyway, we're also planning to deploy a live update that introduces the following changes: decrease the cost of tier 1 revive tokens and upgrades from Riven at the start of the coil activity. People who are complaining about this quite literally are just babies. The answer is simple: just don't die. Be good at the game and don't die. It has always been 100 shards. It has always been 100 shards to get a revive token. It's never been a problem until now, but people saying, oh, revive tokens aren't fun. Oh, I know I sound salty here, but this is something that is just confusing to me, because at this point, you may as well just end the idea permanently of having competitive events. Give everybody a trials chest every week. Give everybody 7-win flawless every week. If it's about loot, just give everybody flawless. Give everybody max rewards in Iron Banner. Give everybody a gold class item in Guardian games. End the weighted scoring. Just give everybody a gold emblem. Reward everybody. We can't have anything exclusive anymore because of the 18,000 people who are still playing this game consistently, and of the 40,000 players in the total player base, 90% of them are crybabies. They don't understand. They just genuinely don't understand. They are a father of 19 children who have 9 picoseconds a month to go play Destiny 2. They can only load into Crucible for 2 seconds, shoot their gun once, and then they have to alt F4, and they want to be rewarded for it. I'm saying what I said. It is baffling at this point. And I know this is really negative, but this is something that bothers me. This is something that just bothers me deep down. It really does. Okay. And they expanded the interact of the daily shipment chest to address reports that its interface isn't showing. Guys, I didn't even know that this was an issue. Who the hell is missing the chest? Anyway, we unfortunately can't address the following issues in time for this event. Teams exploring can address the impact to high-value target spawns and salt sensitivity. We put a factor them in for consistent scoring future Call to Arms events. Call to Arms tooltips indicate the incorrect number of competitor points to require the next percentile for above average, top 30%, top 10%. The correct values are 5, 10, and 50 points respectively. We appreciate your continued feedback and patience with this first Call to Arms and will apply to these changes in future events. This, to me, is an unmitigated disaster. This event has no identity. I follow me at Team Paragon on Twitter. At Team Paragon on Twitter. See right here, pointless shilling. It just makes no sense to me to have a competition with a percent-based score milestones and everybody being able to qualify for the top percent. It would have been fine rewarding the top 1% of players with an exclusive reward for getting 1% in any of the categories, but if there is no competition, it dilutes what the reward actually means. And I'm gonna stand by this I will stand by my statement until the day I die. We do not have a true competitive event anymore. Crucible, the competitive playlist, is pointless. Ranks mean absolutely nothing. Nobody cares. Anybody can get top and competitive with enough luck, because of the 12 people still playing that playlist, eventually you will flip the coin and it will land on heads enough time for you to get all the way up to Ascendant. It is simply put, it's just how probability works. Okay? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I genuinely have nothing else to say. This just is another straw on top of the camel's back. My back isn't broken yet. I'm still going to continue playing Destiny. However, I am deeply and fundamentally disappointed as to what I'm so disappointed as to what's been happening. I wish that they would not do this and we actually had leaderboards to compete for events. I spent a lot of time grinding, specifically Heliostat, to get my top 1% rewards, and now my score, which yesterday was only safe by 15,000 points, is now safe by 400,000 points, and that 400,000 points is not moving anywhere. So I have no reason to hop on and play the event anymore because I'm guaranteed to get my emblem, I'm guaranteed to get my helmet, I'm guaranteed to get my everything. The only thing I can do at this point is just buy the event pass to just get the maximum amount of tickets. I can guild my emblem maybe if I really want to, but I digress. I'm sorry if I sounded negative. This is Destiny means something to me. It really means something to me. And for things like this to happen so consistently, where bugs negatively impact events, and in this case, we had a unique event for the first time since the Revelry, and it has just been ruined and stripped of its identity in less than 7 days. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish there was another game that gave even the slightest hint of competition to dethroning Destiny 2. Borderlands flopped. I'm not going to play the Division. There's just nothing else out there right now. So, besides that, I'm sorry if I really, once again, I know, I'm sorry, I'm sounding negative. There's a lot of good things that are happening with the game right now. We're going to be getting armor balancing soon. We're going to be getting ability balancing soon. We already got the weapon balancing article. Renegade drops in 2 weeks or 13 days as the time I'm making this video. So, I mean, I'm going to try to be a little bit more positive. I'm still going to keep on pumping out content. I appreciate the hell out of every one of you that supported me. I'm currently sitting at 4,700 subscribers. If you can, I would really appreciate it if you would, subscribe to me if you aren't already and you made it to this point in the video. I would love to hit 5,000 before the end of the year. That is a goal of mine I'd really like to hit. And besides that, like I said, once again, I'm going to thank each and every single one of you for watching. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're enjoying Call to Arms more than I am, at least. Remember, you matter to somebody. Do something good for someone today. Maybe make someone smile. All right? Take care.